Shalom and greetings from Jerusalem, Jane. I just want to make this video to say thank you. Thank you to all the people who has been following me on social media the entire time that I have been in Israel, and even in the layovers that I have had in Denmark when I had to go back due to visa before I came back here, and I got the visa that has kept me here now for 10 years. Yesterday we passed 230,000 followers on a page I have on Facebook called Israel One Nation. You see, I'm not some VIP, I'm not a professional journalist, I don't even use the word journalist about me, I'm not an influencer, I'm not a VIP, no, nothing. I'm a small town Danish girl who was born and raised in a Christian home, who had grandparents who prayed for Israel all the time, every day. A mom who has been leading a prayer group for Israel every day. And I came to Israel in tourist group, and God started speaking to me about Israel, that He had something for me to do in Israel. So I am just Jane, plain Jane from Denmark. Some of you have known me since I was a child. Some of you have been following me for 10 years, some for 5, some for 3, some for 2 months. Some people don't even know who I am, and that's okay. To the best of my ability, in all this time, I have done the best that I could, speaking truth out of Israel. I made Israel One Nation in 2011, so the fact that we passed 230,000 followers now, well, it took a lot of time, and that's okay, because it's never been about likes, it's never been about followers. It's simply just being about speaking the truth of what is happening in Israel, speaking the facts, the history, coming against the lies and the propaganda. During all of these years, I have done all of this by myself, speaking to the equipment, a phone, and working on an old computer. At some point, I was making live videos with my friend Ali Fools before he was brutally murdered in a terror attack. Did you know that I have been reporting about every single terror attack? Jewish mothers being murdered in front of their children, Jewish children being crushed to death when they have been waiting at a bus stop, brutally murdered in yet another heinous terror attack. Terror attack upon terror attack upon terror attack. Shootings, rammings, stabbings, and then all the rockets, the missiles, the drones. All of this that happened before October 7, again and again and again and again. See, when God called me to come here to Israel in 2007, we were on a trip with a group, and I got severely burned in my face. You can see the puffness here. I had some very, very bad burns in my face, and for a whole year, every month they burned my skin off with laser. It was excruciating painful, and after 1 year I said, stop, I can't do this anymore. And they said, well, we did this to prevent for you to have skin cancer, but your skin is burned down and damaged many, many layers. We need to continue treatment. And I said, I can't do it. On that trip, God has also called me about, I will bring you to Israel, I have a purpose for you. I stepped out in 2010, coming with one suitcase, not knowing anyone. And for the first 3 months I was here, I was just on my face, praying, saying, God, why did you send me to Israel? What do you want me to do? Due to visa, I was in and out until I got the visa I have now that is being renewed every year. I'm coming to a point now that in a couple of months that passport needs to be renewed after 10 years. And that passport will show you that I have only left Israel twice in 10 years. I have stood with this nation in good times and bad times. I have cried when you have cried, and I have laughed when you have laughed. And it has been a tremendous honor and blessing. Like I said, through all of this, I have been working alone. This is what I believe God called me to do. In the midst of this, there didn't come a husband and there didn't come children. And through all my time in Israel, I've been working alone and doing all of this by myself. It's been tough, I'm not gonna lie. It's been very, very hard. In the midst of reporting about a horrendous terror attack where you just wept, but then you also had to go out and haul home the groceries in my trolley. I don't drive. All the hard work of doing everything by myself when you are emotionally and mentally drained from all the terrorism that you had to report about coming against the Jewish people. So the price has been big. Naturally, all of a sudden, people around the world knew about this small town Danish girl when I went to the Temple Mount, and I started making videos about the horrible harassment towards the Jewish people. And all of a sudden, I was being followed around by Arabs. Arab news sites was writing I was a Jewish spy, and I had my fair share of death threats over the years. So, yeah, you sometimes see someone and you follow them, but you don't know the full story, and you certainly don't know behind the scenes and what they have been through, and I've been through a lot that I can't even begin to share about in this country. Through all of this, and then when I say all of this, I'm talking about thousands of video updates, of live videos that I have made on my social media. Thousands. All the articles that I have written, blogs that I have written for different media outlets over the years. I used to do video updates every day, every other day, sharing news and truth and views out of Israel. And through all of these years, I have solely worked as a volunteer. Every day, every video, every article, every blog, every post that I have written, I have not made $1. I have worked as a volunteer, being funded by people who says, we see God's call upon your life. We see how you are being a blessing to Israel, and for thousands of videos you have been faithful and faithful and faithful and faithful. Even though we know the price for you has been very, very tough, Jane. We follow you. How can we be a blessing? How can we sow into the work that we know God has called you to do? And that's what really touches me over these years when people are contacting me saying, God spoke to me about blessing you, Jane. How can I be a help for you? So yeah, 230,000 followers on Israel One Nation, but nobody's allowed to see my work. Over the years, I have been reported and reported and reported on Facebook from anti-Israel haters, and my post has been limited. I have been censored and censored. So even though I have that many followers, nobody's allowed to see what I do. Nobody's allowed to see my video updates, especially on Facebook. But I have been so honored and blessed. The girl who stepped out in faith when God called me to go to Israel, He had something for me. And I stepped out in faith. I didn't know anyone. I arrived with one suitcase, and I didn't know what God wanted me to do. I stepped out with the burns in my face. That is very, very painful, and I have to wear all of this makeup to try and cover it up, and being out in the sun is very painful. I stepped out in faith, coming with one suitcase after I had had 3 knee surgeries, both of my knees, massive injuries in both of my knees. But to the best of my abilities, over all of these years, I have done the best that I could, working alone, living alone, shopping alone, cooking alone, cleaning alone, and then also running for shelter when the wild Houthis in Yemen fired another ballistic missile into Israel, trying to murder the Jewish people. I was in America about 10 years ago, and I was in a meeting, and my friends introduced me to someone saying, Jane, she's in Israel, and this man said, you're going to be crying a lot of tears. I see on the corner of your eyes, you're going to be crying a lot of tears, because God is going to put the love He has in His heart for the Jewish people. He's going to put that in your heart, and you're going to be standing with them, and you're going to be speaking up for them. And like I said, I'm just a small town Danish girl, not making any money, never made money in over 10 years, just working on a phone and on an old computer, doing the best that I can. And I just had to take a break, because for those of you who have been following me for a longer period of time, you know that after making thousands and thousands of videos and live updates, the last year and a half it has gone down a little bit. And that was simply because after October 7, the trauma that I was already carrying from all of the threats to my life, from reporting about the terrorism, going through injuries and surgeries and all of that, and not leaving Israel and not having a break for years and years and years. With the October 7, the trauma just exploded in my body. And one of the areas where it really affects me is in my throat and in my voice. And I simply lost my voice. I've been crying because I have not been able to do all the work that I wanted to make all the videos that was needed. But trauma, after so many years, simply just is raging in my body. I don't want to say this. There are so many amazing people around the world who stand up for Israel and speak up for Israel. But living here, you are in the spiritual warfare. Living here, you are in the war. Living here, you are in the terrorism and the rockets and the drones and all the things that I have had to report about. It is like nothing ever, elsewhere. So I carry the collective trauma from people here in Israel, and then I carry my own set of trauma. So following someone and seeing someone on social media doesn't mean you know them at all or what they have endured or gone through. But I want to end by saying thank you for all the people who have followed, not just Israel One Nation, but all my social media, despite the fact that I am so tremendously restricted and limited. Again, I'm a small town Danish woman who stepped out in faith, been doing this by myself all of these years, except when I worked with Ali Fool, who was murdered. Not making any money, but just sharing the truth and the news and the views out of Israel. But for the last year and a half, I lost my voice. I had surgeries in my feet, and it's been quite challenging, also moving several times. But I want to say thank you for being with me on this journey. I believe if one day God says, now you have done, Jane, what I called you to do, and it's time to leave Israel, if that day comes, then that will be it. But as of now, I know He has so much more for me to do. And that's also what I hear from you, all the amazing people around the world who says, we follow you, Jane, we trust you, and we have seen the price that you have paid for so many years, Jane. Take care of yourself. You need to take some more breaks and some vacation and some rest, which they know I haven't done for years. So in all of this, I have tried to stay in my lane and not compare myself to anyone, certainly not any influencer or a journalist, because like I said, I'm not trained as a journalist. I'm a small town Danish girl, but I firmly believe that God sent me here to just play that small part. The girl with the burnt face and the girl with the busted up knees and not the best health, to be out and about like I really wanted to do, but just share the truth and the news, and I will continue to do that to the best of my ability. Thank you for your love and your concern for Israel, and thank you for standing with me at this time. Bye.